Hi, friends. Thanks for joining us. Do us a favor, smash that subscribe button. We can't thank you all enough for this week's growth going into the Labor Day Classic. Benny, where can they find us on social media?
Yeah, you can find us at Ray Benny Sports. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Check us out also on Reddit and Discord. And don't forget, leave us a rating on your favorite podcast provider.
Let's get right into it. Blue Bomber Talk brought to you by Fahrenheit Airbrushing. Stand out on the ice, pavement, on the field, or in the stands with a custom airbrushed helmet, goalie mask, or any project. A local Manitoba business with affordable solutions. Check out Fahrenheit Airbrushing on Facebook or call them at 204-891-7431.
And don't forget to tell them that Ray and Benny sent you.
So the Bombers are on a 3-game winning streak.
Heater.
I hate that word. I hate that word. And it's such a hockey word too. We're on a heater, bud. Yeah. Shut up. Most encouraging thing about from the Bombers from the Hamilton Ticats game. You can go first.
That they won the game. I can go on about the defense and how the defense played another solid game and kept Hamilton down. But for me, it's actually that they won the game and that they managed to find a way to win it at the end. There's been a few games this season, the Ottawa game earlier, where they got close to the red zone the end zone and could finish it off. And that was my feeling in this one too. I'm like, they're gonna get close, and then they're gonna drop the ball at the end and not score. And then when Ontario Wilson dropped that one right at the goal line, I was like, oh no, don't happen. But for me, it's that they actually managed to pull this game out after really the offense really struggling all game. Injuries obviously, affected that on the O-line, but it was another inconsistent game from that offense, but at least they were able to pull it out at the end and almost thank their defense for keeping it so close for them.
Most encouraging thing for me was the last drive, that we can still count on Zach Collaros to come up big on the last drive. He took them down from their own 38, led them on a 1 minute, 20-second drive and a game-winning touchdown to Kenny Lawler. That was the most encouraging thing. Let's go on to most discouraging thing, even though they won. Where is this leading to, Ray? Where is this leading to? Most discouraging thing about the Ticats game, lack of touchdowns against almost any other CFL teams. And thank goodness they won. And I'm happy they won. I was there. It was a great time. I got to see Sergio Castillo and take a picture with him at the end of the game. But against any other team, that would have been probably a bummer loss. Stopped on the 35 for a field goal. Stopped on the 10. On the 10. Interception by Collaros on that 19. A horrible interception. You had Brady Oliveira open in the flats and you overthrow him right into the Hamilton defender's hands. Easy pick, 0 points off that. Thank goodness for the defense and Nick Hallett coming up with a huge sack, and then Tony Jones coming up with a huge hit on special teams where the Bombers can score a touchdown in the first half. All this business happened in the first half. Bombers stopped at the 33-yard line for a 41-yard field goal. That's not good enough. The lack of touchdowns is not good enough, and it's absolutely discouraging still.
Was the one on the 10, was that the 2nd and 4 Strevler sneak?
What a waste of a Strevler package, but that's another topic that you're opening up now.
Yeah, and I might have been Doug Brown on Twitter and stuff, or someone, but it's just like, why isn't he throwing every once in a while on those? Or throwing here and there, because you're just making it predictable. He did that 2nd and 4 sneak either the game before, the one before, the last couple games anyways, and it didn't work either. And it left them short that they couldn't even gamble on 3rd down.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like, get rid of it. Either that or include a pass, even a dump pass. Do something there. But yeah, I got to agree with you on the discouraging. As much as we're going to praise him for that last drive, that was a disjointed offense. Zach Collaros, yes, losing Stanley Bryant, and then later Gabe Wallace affected the game. But Zach, even when he had time, he made these mistakes. Long ball into double coverage, triple coverage. You're forcing the ball down to Lawler. For what reason? He's not open. Now you're making Lawler jump 20 feet in the air, exaggeration, but also coming down and possibly getting hurt again. He was out for a bit and they were checking his finger. It's like, come on, man, be safe. And that dump off to Brady Oliveira where he missed its interception. That's 3 points. But I agree with you. 1 for 3 in the red zone, man. That's got to stop.
Yeah.
And it's, I don't know, the forcing passes to Lawler. There was other plays where I saw Lawler open later in the game, but he wasn't passing him the ball there. He was still forcing it in certain situations. Zach looked a little bit like a deer in a caught in the headlights moment, but yeah, luckily he was able to overcome it. But this offense needs to figure things out. They need to figure things out quick. Because like you said, if it wasn't Hamilton, who is all over the map and disjointed themselves, they would have lost this game.
What's the main reason why the Bombers aren't scoring touchdowns, do you think?
You know what? I'm going to go. Brady Oliveira has no touchdowns. No touchdowns. None rushing, none passing or catching. So to me, that was a big eye opener when I was looking around today, thinking that, right? So you getting in that red zone, and Oliveira was cooking on Friday night, right?
Yeah.
Friday night. He was cooking.
Yeah.
He had some great runs. And then all of a sudden it's like you're letting Zach do it and force it passes. Keep going with Oliveira, man, especially when you're getting down in that red zone. And I know Streveler has 7 touchdowns or whatever it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're obviously able to rush that, but the red zone numbers aren't good. And Brady Oliveira has no touchdowns. What are we, 11 games into this season?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And he ran 11 times for what?
That was 18 for
120.
20, yeah.
6.7 average.
6.7, yes.
And you go away from that? Give me a break. Stanley Bryant gave Wallace.
14 red zone TDs this year so far only. They had 42 last year at the end of it, but 14 halfway through the year, or more than halfway.
More than halfway through. Yeah. My gosh. So why should we be stressing like this after a win?
Yeah, that's the thing. It's a 3-game winning streak. We were feeling good after the BC games. We were still the offense is still not there yet, but getting there. And then you got a Hamilton D coming in. That's been the worst in the league. And I know they made a change, and obviously it helped because Chris Jones is good, I guess, at confusing Zach Collaros for the most part. And he did another pretty good job there. And sometimes only rushing 3 guys. And I know the O-line was kind of decimated, but 3 guys, Zach didn't know where to go, and Chris Jones did a good job. So that kind of helped Hamilton. But this game should never have been that close.
The main reason why they aren't scoring touchdowns is Collaros, to me, looks like he's being indecisive, especially when they're on between the 30 and 40-yard line. It's puzzling. Like, I can't put it all on his shoulders. Yes, he was under constant pressure with a broken down O-line with the injuries, but just that interception alone that he overthrew Brady Oliveira when you're in absolutely scoring position. Why? Oh, I don't know, brother. Like, I just think that Collaros is really being indecisive on this. And I don't know if it's a confidence thing. I don't know if it's an age thing. I don't know if it's a combination of defensive coordinators finally figuring him out, the lack of an O-line. I'm sure it's a bunch of things. But when it comes down to it, you have a veteran making those mistakes. I'm going to have to put it on his back. I said I wouldn't, but I have to.
Yeah, he doesn't have his security blanket that he's had for the last couple of years in Dalton Schoen. Maybe that's changing things. A few rookie guys in there. Maybe he's not trusting what they're doing. But yeah, it's a lot of stuff in the red zone where he's giving up. As much as I want to see touchdowns, I don't want to lose a field goal attempt because you turn the ball over, in the red zone trying to force a pass.
Yeah,
or slightly off on a pass. Drop that ball somewhere else. Take the sack even. Let's get this field goal and get out of here because we're struggling to get touchdowns. You don't want to lose those field goal opportunities too.
I don't understand why the Bombers aren't using Oliveira more as a receiver on the line. Like, you can put 4 receivers out there, an extra O-lineman, have Brady start in the backfield, and then move him to the line. It's a one-on-one matchup with a linebacker. Why aren't they doing those mismatches?
What was that? There was a game this year where Oliveira caught 8 or 9 passes from the backfield. And now it's been very little, if any, since then.
Yeah.
And I was talking to Nat game going, holy crap, that's way too much. But now it's not even at all. He's very rarely catching the ball out there. I'd even try Augustine every once in a while with a pass out there. That dude's, he looked good coming in for a couple plays with his speed. And I seemed to be throwing Hamilton off balance a little bit. Try something different in there. And, you had Greg McRae doing that stuff. Was it Greg McRae? Last year doing stuff 29. Like that, right? And they kind of lost that now without him, but they're not doing anything like that. So, maybe use Lucky Whitehead more on that.
Well, they're definitely not using Nick Dembski on options and stuff like that no more.
No, that's different. It's surprising what Buck is doing out there right now. And but it's not consistent. It's like, no. And then you're rolling. You're finally rolling, and then you do that 2nd and 4 play with Streveler. It's like, come on. Carlos is struggling already, but he's having a good drive. Let him finish this drive. Do not try to get cute, and then all of a sudden you're kicking a field goal when you could have possibly got a first down or a touchdown there.
I don't know why they're not leaning on the small ball in the running game. Just saying.
Yeah.
Thoughts on the O-line? Stanley Bryant with a scary injury. Thank goodness he's on the mend. Man, I think that's the scariest thing I've ever seen in a live football game, to see a
Yeah.
guy on a stretcher like that being carted off. Thank goodness for social media. Because if there wasn't any social media, like everyone in the house would have been like, what is going on with this dude in the hospital, man?
Yeah.
That's crazy. And of course, Gabe Wallace with that horrible knee injury. It looked really bad. Let's hope it's not as bad as it looked on TV. But what are your thoughts on that O-line now with those injuries? Jake Thomas having to come in wearing number 62 in the second half.
Yeah.
Thoughts on the O-line?
Yeah, that was scary with Stanley Bryant. Luckily, it sounded like he was ill going into it. Dehydration more than anything. So thankful for that. Hopefully he can be back this weekend. But that was scary. And it was a long time, especially when you see a big guy and you're watching replays and you're like, hey, nothing happened. He didn't get hurt anywhere. It's like, what's happening here, right? So, and then Wallace, who was playing, he was playing well. He was on crutches at the end of the game, right? So that's probably not going to look good. You already got Pat Neufeld on his 6-game injured. I was looking at the roster. So you got 5 guys. 5 old linemen basically left right now without Bryant as well. And the only guy on the practice roster that I saw was Mika Vanderpool. So that's pretty thin. So something's got to be done there. I don't know if you can find some guys out there that you can bring in, but that'll be tough with weeks notice only, really, and a tough game coming up against Saskatchewan.
I like the prospects of Vanderpool. At least he played guard and tackle in Hawaii. He played a full 5 seasons at Hawaii. He's part of the Patriots roster. He got cut, a USFL player. So the dude obviously has talent to be making it in these leagues. I would like to see him play, get an opportunity to be in the system. But, there's not many NFL cuts coming like they used to. Those practice rosters are extended now, they're larger, and players are willing to take a little more or wait a few more weeks to try and get onto an NFL practice roster. So those players aren't available as easily as they used to be.
Well, no, and that's happening this week. Cuts in the NFL, right? So even if you grabbed one, yeah, I'm sure he's not ready to play by Sunday and learn the nuances of the offense. And I feel for Randolph, who has played well at guard, but then he went to left tackle, right? So it's a tough new position. The guy kind of got abused a few times by Hamilton. So you got to be ready, and it's going to be tough in Saskatchewan with that noise, and that defense has been playing well for Saskatchewan. So hopefully Bryant's good to go.
Did you gain any confidence in Hamilton after the loss to Winnipeg? Yes. Their defense looked considerably better, even though they're playing one of the worst offenses in the league. Like, not to shit on the Bombers again, but that offense is an offense in progress. And Hamilton found ways to confuse Zach Collaros, especially in the second half. They turned it on with the coverage and them rushing minimal players. Like, come on now. Hamilton is looking decent. I don't know if they have enough juice to make a run, but I've gained some confidence in them.
Yeah, the East is kind of getting away from them at this point, right? Because Hamilton, or what's Toronto, 6-4 or something
like
right?
that.
So if you got 2 wins, it's going to be tough to come back. They definitely played a better game. I'm still on the fence. You like that one, right? On the fence. With it, defense obviously played better with Chris Jones calling the plays, and the Bombers had time of possession, 20 something to whatever it was in the first half, and then it kind of flipped the script in the second half where the defense was stopping the Bombers and the offense was kind of getting things going. But the one good thing, the offensive line, Hamilton had a good offensive line. Bombers couldn't get much pressure there. But at the end of the day, and at the end of the game, Hamilton again showed why they're 2 and whatever by blowing this game when they had this game in the bag. Bo Levi that offense needed a couple more first downs. They needed to do something in their last few drives, and they just couldn't get it done. And that just shows that Hamilton's not quite there yet, but they looked a lot better in this game than they have previous weeks.
So did you gain any confidence in Hamilton?
I would say a little bit. I mean, yes, some
go.
confidence, but no, at the same time, that confidence. If they would have won this game, I would have said yes. But them blowing it at the end kind of takes away any confidence, or I don't know, some of the confidence that I gained in them. So I'm probably even on them. Let's go even. I didn't gain any confidence on them. Let's go to that.
Really? After you saw them perform all the way they have, and for them to actually, their defense to show up and show that they can be with one of the top tier teams right now in the CFL?
Like you said, this offense, though, Bombers, is struggling. You lose 2 old linemen in this game. One is the best left tackle in the game, and you still couldn't find a way to end up beating them after you took the lead. That's what I said. The confidence that I thought I had in Hamilton kind of slowly dissipated by watching the defense revert back to its old self and give up a 70-yard drive to lose the game. So we'll see over the next couple of weeks. I don't expect them to go into this Labor Day matchup with Toronto and win that. And Bo Levi, like I said, had chances to finish this game. That offense had chances to finish this game, and they couldn't do it.
Tip the Bierstein, player of the game. I'm going to give it to Sergio Castillo. Just perfect. 4 for 4, a couple over 40 yards. He's the primary reason why the Bombers are on a 3-game winning streak, and he's the primary reason why they're in the playoff picture.
Yeah, I could give it to Castillo too, or Oliveira. I'm going to give it to Tony Jones though, for forcing that fumble. And that play obviously ended up being huge with this Bomber offense, the way it played. So Tony Jones forcing a fumble that ended up getting taken back on special teams for a touchdown.
Bombers got to score touchdowns on offense. Sergio Castillo is keeping this team afloat. Bombers, Riders. Yeah. How do you see the Labor Day Classic playing out? Offense, defense, special teams. Go ahead.
Oh, this is going to be a tough one. It's always tough going into Labor Day. Saskatchewan struggling a little bit. But
a lot of it right now.
Their games have been close though.
Ooh, they're on a slide. Game, what are they, 1-4 in their last 5?
They've lost it, but they're besides the Edmonton game, most of them have been close scores. That tie against Ottawa, 2 close losses to Montreal, and then it lost to Toronto. Right, the Rouge lost.
Yeah, no one's going to remember those at the end of the year when they're tallying the wins and losses, though.
No, but again, it's Labor Day, right? We're going into Saskatchewan, and yes, they were on a winning streak going in until last year when they lost. The offense for the Bombers has to be good. It has to be consistent. The Saskatchewan D, though, is good against the run. Passing wise, they're still struggling a little bit, even though they have Roland Milligan, who's leading the league in interceptions at 6. And the Saskatchewan D causes a lot of turnovers in that terms. I was looking at it, they got at least 12 interceptions, a few forced fumbles. So the Bombers offense needs to play a clean game. And depending on this O-line and who's starting for it, this could be a struggle for the Bombers offensively.
Well, like you're saying, with this O-line and whatever the configuration will be, the Bombers need to get the running game going, and they have to beat the shit out of Saskatchewan's D-line. Let's be real. They aren't going to score a bunch of points on Saskatchewan. I hope they prove me wrong. I hope game time, prime time, Zach shows up and balls out. But, man, this is mosaic. Yeah. Oliveira has to have 25 plus touches, more than 5.5 yards a carry, and score multiple touchdowns for the Bombers to leave LDC with a win. If the Bombers can't commit to the run and beating the Roughriders' ass all night long with a power game, they are cooked. It's going to be a low-scoring affair. You know, and the running game will set up the big plays, which Saskatchewan is second worst in the league to give up to. But they're not going to get those big plays unless they commit to the running game. You know, why are you going to lean on the passing game against the CFL's league leader in sacks? Like, the Bombers have less than half of the offensive touchdowns than Edmonton has. Edmonton has 34, Bombers have 16. Gross. So get that running game going or they're in trouble.
Yeah, but that's part of the problem is Saskatchewan's better against the run than the pass. And the Bombers are obviously better running than the pass right now. So one of those has got to break a little bit, and hopefully it is. If, like you're saying, commit to that Oliveira just pounding it. And hey, if the first few plays go for 2 yards only, don't give up on it, you know, because they did that quickly last time against Saskatchewan. Then they got a few good runs in the second half, I believe, in that game or whatever it was. But yeah, commit to it and go at it. Use Oliveira, pound that line.
Defense, what do they got to do?
Keep going. Yeah, but they actually need to get some pressure again. The 3-man rush was not working against Hamilton. Bo Levi had some time to look downfield and make those big completions to Tim White downfield. Bombers can't give up those plays. So they'll need to get pressure at Harris. The Saskatchewan O-line, though, has played fairly well and have kept Harris clean and Shea Patterson pretty clean. So you're going to have to figure that out a way to get some pressure without having to rush 6 guys.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, they can't be blitzing hard with Trevor Harris back in there. And they figured out something on that defensive line. They got to find that magic back. First down defense will be huge. Force Saskatchewan into second and longs. Other than the Bombers, who are last at second down conversion, the Riders are right there. You know, the linebackers have to have a big day. Shane Gauthier needs to take a step forward, and not just against the running game. You know, he has to be all over the field against the run and the pass. Trevor Harris and the Saskatchewan Roughriders are going to focus on the middle of the field all day long. So Shane Gauthier, you got to step up your game, bro.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be a tough game for him for sure.
Special teams.
Keep doing what they're doing. I like what they're doing. Besides the return game, I mean, we've talked about this already. Coverage game has been well. One good return by Hamilton that got negated by holding, so that was good for the Bombers. Castillo, again, great game. And Jamison Sheehan, just be more consistent. Had a decent game last game. Still last in the league, though, average-wise. But in this environment, we're going to need him to be good. And Mario Alford's going to be back there And he's put up some decent numbers against Bombers. So hopefully this kick coverage team can keep doing what they're doing. And, I like what Mike Miller's done with this unit. We were kind of worried coming into the season, but he has done a good job getting these guys to buy in. And we saw it, the special teams, Tony Jones with the forced fumble, right? So they're playing well right now.
Sheehan had a better than decent game. He had over 47 yards on his net average, which is great. And Saskatchewan is horrible at punt returns. And the Bombers have the second best punt return cover. It's all about field position in this one. They have to dominate field position in they got to pin the Saskatchewan Roughriders deep all day long.
Yeah, you can't have it the other way around in the Labor Day, because if you're on your inside your 20, starting inside your 20 a lot with that noise,
no.
That right there, take the crowd out of this game early, man. If you can, if this Bomber offense can, start quick, get this crowd out of it a bit, that will definitely help and go a long way. If Castillo or anyone is calling or adding it to it with turnovers on offense and allowing Saskatchewan to take advantage of this crowd is going to go nuts, and this game will spiral away very quickly. So, yeah, it'll be a fun game. It's always a fun game with Labor Day in Saskatchewan.
Fun.
We'll have to go back one time.
Really? Okay, sure. Let's go to Mosaic. Charles Roberts being inducted into the Ring of Honor the week after at the Banjo Bowl on September 7th. Great Bomber running back. He himself said he wished he would have stayed in Winnipeg to crack 10,000 yards. Who are your top three Bomber running backs? I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. I'm going to go Roberts, Leo Lewis, and Andrew Harris. A lot of folks are going to be like, yo, where's Willard Reeves? I know he has more yards and such than Harris, but Harris is a Canadian. He gets the Winnipeg boy bias, and he brings the cups home. Multiple cups. Yeah. So I'm going to go with Harris over Willard Reeves.
Yeah, you got Jerry James there too that you could add in there. So it's hard. That's the thing with Harris, right? And I agree with your list right there. I have the same thing written down here: Roberts, Lewis, and Harris. So that's the thing with Harris, right? He was here to end the drought. He was a big factor in that first playoff run for sure, MVP and everything like that. So it's hard to take away from that. I know he wasn't here long. It was 6 years or whatever it is, right? But he definitely left his stamp on this team in his city. And same with Charles Roberts, man. I am still mad that he got traded to right before that 10,000. Like, what the, like that pisses me off still to this day that guy got traded for that. The funny thing is, we talked about this with Milt, right? How good Roberts could have been if he actually took care of his body and all that stuff. Or maybe he would have been worse. Who knows?
Yeah.
But dude was good, and he was always out of shape.
Well, he was always out of shape compared to guys who trained all season long.
True,
but he was in football shape and raring to go in week 1.
Yeah.
Shoot, unbelievable. Bomber fans, put your comments on Charles Roberts and the season and the Labor Day Classic coming up in the comments section below. Let's move on to CFL Talk. Thoughts on Rick Campbell saying that VA plays-ish, if he's around 100%, whatever. Who are your top 3 running backs? Who would you start at QB for the BC Lions? If VA can execute the playbook, VA starts. Dude was on an MOP pace, and he gives the Lions the best chance to win while Rourke gets up to speed. Not too hard.
Yeah, I agree there. It's got to be VA for me. Unless Rourke came in these last 2 games and obviously lit it up, then it's different. But watching him, he's still rusty. He's still figuring things out. The guy's just barely over 50% completion in those 2 games. No touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Yeah, like you say, Vernon Adams was having a wicked season right before that. 14 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, 2,500 yards almost, right? 65% completion rate. So yeah, you got to go with VA if he's 100% and ready to go.
Who are your top 3 teams in your CFL power rankings?
I can't believe I'm going to say this, but they're all from the East. That is crazy over the last how many years where the West has dominated. Montreal number 1, Ottawa number 2, and I got to give it to Toronto right now, number 3.
I'm going to go Montreal, Ottawa, Winnipeg. Montreal, obviously, to be the man, you have to beat the man. Montreal is still the man. Yeah. We're going to Labor Day here. I'm going to go off track. Labor Day Classic. Why isn't it Montreal against Ottawa? The battle of the Rideau. It writes itself. What are they doing? Ottawa and Montreal don't even meet on Labor Day or the weekend matchup after because it's BC Montreal. Man, these schedule makers are full of nonsense. Ottawa's taking number 2 for me. Drew Brown, crazy 390 for 3 touchdowns last game. And I'm going to go for Winnipeg because their defense looks nuts. So that's my top 3. Ooh.
Isn't it? Yeah, that Drew Brown, that really sparks that debate between Drew Brown and Collaros. Is it Touchdown Pacific this weekend? So is it Ottawa, BC, or is that next weekend after?
Oh, yeah. Look at that.
Yeah, so it is Ottawa, BC, but it's just, to me, Montreal, Ottawa would have been, make that a staple of Labor Day.
Yeah, and then Montreal.
I know it sucks for BC to not have anybody, but
have them on, have BC play the rematch week. But on Labor Day Classic, when it's supposed to be a weekend of rivalries, it has to be Ottawa, Montreal.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
More than halfway through the season, who are leading candidates for offensive, defenses, and Canadian MOP of the CFL? For offense, I'm going to go with Drew Brown. Talking about that crazy game. The kid is getting better, and he's the main reason the Red Blacks are undefeated at home, or at 7-2-1. Defense, I'm going for Tyrus Beverett on Montreal. 71 tackles, 3 sacks, 5 turnovers, 4 unforced fumbles, 1 pick. Dude is balling for the Owls. And Canadian, I'm going to go with Brady Oliveira. Justin McKinnis is right there. But Brady Oliveira, after missing games, is leading the league in rushing by so much. So I'm going to go 8. And also, I'm from Winnipeg. I'm a homer, so shut up.
Come on, Homer, what are you doing?
I'm being real.
For me, offense, I'm going to still give it, Drew Brown's a good one. I'm going to give it to Cody Fajardo, though. Still about 247 yards per game, 12 TDs, 5 interceptions. The only loss for Montreal so far was the game where he ended up getting injured. And I know the D is obviously very good in Ottawa, but Cody Fajardo so far is having a pretty good season, minus the injury and the missed games. Defense, I'm going to Roland Milligan, who the Bombers are going to face this weekend. 66 tackles. I forgot to write it down here, but I got 6 interceptions, I believe. Yep. May have forced fumble in there. I'm missing that, unfortunately, because I did not write that down. But he has been a stalwart on that defense for Saskatchewan. And I'm going to give it to Justin McKinnis right now. Still almost at 1,000 yards. I know the last few weeks he's slowed down a little bit with Vernon Adams getting hurt. But dude was on a crazy pace. 87 yards almost per game, 6 touchdowns. And 212 yak yards. So, he's doing some damage on his own. It's not just Vernon Adams chucking him the ball, but he's had a pretty good season so far.
That was the thing that downgraded me. His lack of play once he lost his number 1 QB. Milt Stegall, that guy, you put anyone in there, Troy Kopp, he's still going to put up 150. Oh, it don't matter.
You want to list off all the QBs Stegall played with?
But do we have an hour?
I need a couple of days.
After seeing Montreal's jerseys, who has the league's most recent best alternate jersey? I'm going to say Montreal hands down. Oh, the numbers on the side of the helmet, plus the old Alouettes jersey on the forehead looked sweet. And the red, white, and blue piping on the socks, pants, and second place will go to the Red Blacks with the old R and the piping on the shoulders. But yeah, Montreal. Ugh.
Yeah, I like the Montreal ones too. And my other option too was the Ottawa Red Blacks one as well. So yeah, those are two very good jerseys. And it's cool to see these different ones, right? And I know a lot of people didn't like the Bombers alternate ones, so hopefully they keep going with the, figuring out another option. But yeah, those are some nice jerseys.
I like the W.
I do too, but I just keep, when I was looking stuff up today with it, I just keep seeing people like, it's good, but it's not good, really, kind of thing. So
it's not the best, but it's definitely better than that stupid digital camouflage that they had a few years ago. Holy cow. Security almost escorted me out of the building because I said that fucking sucks. Really loud. Sorry. If you had to put all your money on it, is the Grey Cup going to a Western team or an Eastern team?
East. Again, can't believe I'm saying this, but it's going to the East. Even they've won the last 2, I guess, really. So
Montreal is tops. You can see Toronto probably coming into form around their QB right now. Ottawa is dangerous at 7-2-1. Yeah, the East.
Yeah, the West, it's crazy. The West is just, it's wide open. And teams are just all over the place and no one's really consistent. They've had a few good weeks and then it's like, 3 good weeks, 3 bad weeks, 3 good weeks, 3 bad weeks. So
when's the last time the East has a dominant run of Grey Cups? Because you look into the 70s, going into the 80s when we were alive, it went to Edmonton, then Winnipeg won multiple. Hamilton, Toronto were in there for a couple, but Calgary won some with Doug Flutie. BC was in there. Saskatchewan won one in 89.
Yeah, thanks for helping out, Saskatchewan.
But the West, it's weird that the East is dominant for a long
Yeah,
stretch.
it's early when Montreal was dominant in the East, but again, they didn't end up winning a lot of Grey Cups through that stretch either. So
That was weird. The Calvillo Pringle years, eh?
yeah, it's like, how did you not dominate and win every Grey Cup?
And they had Don Matthews.
Yes.
Jeez.
Wow.
Let's move on to some Winnipeg Jets talk. Jets just made a trade, McGroarty for the Yager bomb. What are your thoughts on the trade?
I like it. It seems like a good, even trade so far. I mean, obviously, years will tell, and obviously, these guys will be graded against each other over the next 10 years, right? If one of them takes off and the other one doesn't. But they were both drafted in almost the same spot. The only thing is, Brandon Yager is younger, so we're gonna have to wait a little bit longer, possibly before he makes the NHL. But both are projected to be top 6 guys. Both have solid offensive upside. They can score. And Brandon Yager, to me, junior wise, like we were talking about, he's got a lot of goals and assists in the regular season, but he's also showed up in the playoffs as well, where things get a lot grittier. So he's got 20 goals, 30 assists in 40 playoff games in junior, and helping Moose Jaw win the WHL last year, and also represented the Memorial Cup. So for me, I like the trade. Cheveldayoff got something out of nothing. Well, not out of nothing, but in a situation where he's kind of his hands tied. The only thing again about McGroarty I don't like is that they didn't even give Cheveldayoff a reason of why he wanted out. He just said it didn't feel right. I don't care. I don't need to know the reason, but I wish at least Cheveldayoff would have known the reason why he ended up wanting out. But I like the trade, and I'm glad it happened.
To me, I think that they both know the reason. I think it's very clear to both parties that dude didn't want to be in Winnipeg. And I think the answer of Cheveldayoff not knowing other reasons other than it didn't feel right, I think that's just a way for both parties to save face. I think it allows Winnipeg to be okay with still young players, and it allows for McGroarty and his agents to still look good and not look like assholes. But I think they are assholes. And I'm glad that Cheveldayoff got something for his ass. McGroarty will probably have a better career. He'll probably start playing with Crosby almost right away. And that'll set him up for some good stuff and being a good leader. And I think career-wise, he probably will have a better career. But as in the Jets getting something for nothing when the guy wanted to get out of here, I think Cheveldayoff again did a great job on the trade. Like you said, his back was to the wall, and he got something when he easily could have gotten what? A draft pick maybe later on in the good for Cheveldayoff.
Well, yeah, and it's a good thing he didn't sit there and go, "Okay, I got to trade this guy." But he's like,
be patient.
Yeah, you right now we have your rights, and they have their rights probably till at least next year when whatever that rule is, right? So yeah, they would have had his rights, and they could have hung on to it for as long as they possibly could have until they got the right deal. And a good thing this one came along, and he got the right move.
Yeah, there was a limit though, because at a certain point he'd become a UFA because
I think that would have been after this season.
Yeah. So they had to kind of move him. So it's good that they got some.
Yeah.
Should it prevent them from investing in American picks? Hell no. Connor Hellebuck. That could be almost end of discussion for me. Kyle Connor, Dylan Sandberg. You don't let one bad apple ruin the whole bunch. Definitely go for American players. Come on now.
I don't think you do either. And then there's guys like Jacob Trouba who, wanted to be in the States because of his girlfriend at the time and everything like that. So you're going to run into those situations like that. But I think you almost have to prioritize the Canadian player if they can. I'm not saying give up on a good prospect, an American prospect, if he's there. But if you can, if you got a decision to make between two prospects, but two same prospects, maybe lean towards the Canadian guy, the small town guy, because Yager, McGroarty said it too, excited to be in Winnipeg. Yager's saying the same thing right now, right? So, but yeah, like you say, Connor Hellebuck, Connor, Dylan Sandberg, those guys. Sandberg still hasn't signed long-term deals, so we'll see what happens there. But the other two guys have definitely committed to Winnipeg. But you almost have to look at it a little bit and see what your options are. You got another one with Jack Roslovic, right? He thought he was better than what he was, and then he wanted out kind of thing. So, but again, you have the same thing. PLD was in a Canadian market and wanted out to go to the beach in LA, and then his ass got traded to Washington. So that's great. But yeah, I don't know. You got to do something or change something up there, because the Jets have drafted a lot more from the U.S. development program than Canadian side of it. Look at the Oilers; they went to the Cup with the majority of Canadian players, right? So maybe you got to kind of look at that a little bit. But yeah, I would not give up a better U.S. prospect to draft a Canadian guy.
Yeah. And let's just get used to it. We're in Winnipeg, bro. This is not a market that many players, passports aside, want to be in. It's the truth.
No, yeah.
Just saying.
Would you sign in Winnipeg? Just kidding.
Right now, if I had no other prospects, hell yeah. And
but if you could go anywhere,
oh hell no, I'm moving for sure.
You're not even in Winnipeg right now.
Yeah, exactly. They have better taxes here in Alberta too. But I'm just saying, like, it's professional wise, taking money home and opportunities to make money. Of course, you wouldn't want to stay in Winnipeg. It's fair. We're the smallest market of them all.
Yeah, that's why you got to be able to draft and develop and hit on those guys. And it sucks with McGroarty, but at least you got another guy coming in to replace him, and hopefully that'll work out.
Let's move on to hot shots. Winnipeg Jets fans, put your comments in the comments section below. Quick and dirty thoughts on Deion Sanders' reporter ban. That's thin-skinned bullshit. He doesn't like people who don't pump his tires. He's an egomaniac, and now he's an egomaniac with power. Loser move. I hate it.
Apparently, he has the right to do it.
Of course, he does have the right. Yeah. I have the right to spit in someone's face. Is it good?
It's actually something's in his contract that he can do it. So, I don't agree with it, but I also don't agree with the reporter and his name calling almost of Deion. It's like be more professional, right? He's calling him deposition Deion, the Bruce Lee of BS, the false prophet, like stuff like that, man. You're not being professional either, so you're almost egging it on. So I don't agree with it, but I don't also agree with the reporter.
I mean, Deion Sanders shouldn't act like an asshat to be not called those names.
We know who Deion is. That's who Deion is.
Well, there you go. Then don't have thin skin and deal with it, Deion. Banning people from his thing. Which QB would you take first in fantasy football?
It all depends on league scoring, really, on this one, but probably Josh Allen, I guess, just because he runs touchdowns in and throws them.
I'm going to take Lamar Jackson because he gets more rushing yards and he also runs and throws them. Which current NFL player holding out is the most important to their team? I'm going to say CMC. He has to be. That offense doesn't work with him.
Wait, CMC?
But he's not holding. Trent Williams. Trent Williams.
I'm like, what did you see today? I can't handle another holdout.
Sorry. Trent Williams. They got to sign that guy. That offense does not run without him. Physically does not run the ball well without him. And passing, give the quarterback their backside. Purdy, he's still a young guy. Trent Williams, they got to sign that guy.
Oh, I agree with you. Just give him whatever he wants, man, because that O-line is still kind of it's a disaster without him, but it's only slightly better than a disaster with him. And he's really good. Mm-hmm. But the rest of the O-line is kind of weak. So, yes, they need him on that side because you're going to get Purdy crushed if he's not there. Give the guy whatever he wants.
Yeah, absolutely. He's not going to put you over the cap. He just wants that guaranteed money because his career is over soon.
Exactly.
And reward him for such a good career.
Oh, my God. Just give it to him.
Tyreek Hill is coming in at number 1 of the NFL 100. Agree or disagree?
I disagree. I mean, very good receiver and all that, player and everything, but I would still have to give it to Patrick Mahomes.
Yes, there are QBs and rush ends who have bigger impacts on the game than the Tyreek Hill. I totally disagree. Yeah. NHL talking expansion. What 2 new markets would you like to see with a team? 2 new markets. I'm going to go with Portland, great Northwestern city, great American rivalries with Seattle possibly. And I'm going to go wild card, dark horse, and say Green Bay. Something about that one sport state in professional, well, not totally professional, but big leagues. So I'm going to put a team in Green Bay and see what they can do with the frozen tundra and the ice there.
For all our Quebec fans, I'd pick you guys first, though, just so you know.
Yes.
Has Houston ever had a team?
Yes.
Did they? Shoot, I messed up on this one.
Okay.
Kansas City?
Yes, they had a team in 1974 when they expanded.
I'm bad at this then.
No,
I'll agree with yours.
You can do that. You can
pick
do that.
One. Let's go Saskatoon and Hamilton.
Saskatoon would be dope. It'd be better than putting a team in Regina. And it'd be like a Rough Rider team. It'd be a provincial team, and everyone would go to Saskatoon to watch a game. Saskatoon would be a great market. They were on my radar as well. Friends, put your thoughts in the comments section below. Benny, do you have anything to say to our friends?
And you know what? Just thanks a lot for listening. Don't forget, subscribe, follow, and go Bombers, go.
Ooh, it's gonna be a tough one in Labor Day. Yeah, we gotta go. We gotta go to Mosaic one time. I'm in Calgary right now. So to honor Ed Whalen and the famous words of his, in the meantime and in between time, that's it. Another edition of Ray and Benny Talk Sports. And if y'all don't know Ed Whalen and Stampede Wrestling, go on YouTube. That's ridiculous. I should end with a smile. Hey, friends and neighbors, don't forget to check us out online
Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter at Ray Venue Sports. And don't forget to check out our YouTube channel. Leave a like, leave a comment, tell us what you think.